unidentified artists snuck into the Fort Greene Park, which is a war memorial in Brooklyn, and they erected a statue of Edward Snowden. Now, they haven't identified themselves yet, but we do have a picture of the statue, which has since been taken down. But they wanted to make a really interesting political point as to why they put this statue up. Let me read you from one of the anonymous artists. Fort Greene's Prison Ship Martyrs Monument is a memorial to American POWs who lost their lives during the Revolutionary War. We have updated this monument to highlight those who sacrificed their safety in the fight against modern-day tyrannies.
I love it, of course. Look, I support Edward Snowden, and I'm very happy that he revealed the information that he did so that we can make informed decisions in our democracy. And he is, in some sense, a revolutionary in that sense. He risks his well-being. He's not allowed back in the country. He could be in prison for decades on end. And he did it to protect our freedoms, the ones that were guaranteed to us in the Constitution, which we had the revolution over. I think that if they'd put him in, the Korean War document, exhibit or memorial, would have been a little weird, right? But in the case of the Revolutionary War, I think it's very fitting.
Yeah, they say our goal is to bring a renewed vitality to the space and prompt even more visitors to ponder the sacrifices made for their freedoms. I love that they did this. Of course, the memorial took it down immediately because they say that anything that hasn't been warranted ahead of time, they have to take down. But this made me reflect on the entire Edward Snowden debacle and just how much he did give up and how little he got in return. Because what he wanted in return was for Americans to demand change, for us to actually do something about it. And we haven't done anything about it. We're still getting spied on indiscriminately. And he literally lost his well-being to go, leak all this information to us and live in Russia.
Yeah. And look, I know that there's been some incremental change around the edges and talk of change, even from some Republicans now, like Sensenbrenner and others. And at least he brought that conversation to light. But the thing is, getting change in America without the almighty dollar is incredibly difficult. And he got demonized. He got called a traitor and saying it was an act of treason and all this stuff, and all these people with bloodlust after him. So it's if you're sitting there and you're him, you have to be proud that you did the right thing. At the same time, did you get the results that you were hoping for? I mean, that's a thing, man. You could have the American people behind you. You could start a great debate. But unless you have money, you're very unlikely to win legislatively.
When you really think about it, it's crazy. Edward Snowden did the leaks nearly 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're still singing the same tune. It's insane.
And finally on this, I think that people that are against putting up the statue would say, hey, wait, you don't get to act unilaterally on your own and put up the statue in the middle of the park. We didn't agree to that. There's a process to this. The whole community didn't agree to it. You guys are imposing your opinion on our community. The other way of looking at that is, yeah, but you've got this establishment that already hates the guy, that's never going to agree to this or in any way celebrate him. So we are speaking for the part of the community you won't speak for, right? So we had to take action because you wouldn't. So even if it lasted a night, that's why I loved action, because at least it gave a voice to those who support Snowden and will never get officially sanctioned.
So you're a well-known hater of art. Will you concede that in cases like this, art is wonderful?
You have a concession, Anna Kasparian. Okay. You have a concession. But that's because I'm not a hater of art. I'm a hater of BS art that's a bunch of posers. This is real art with a real message.